thoughts, opinions, and general overall shade thrown on High at 9 News are those of the individual speakers and not those of High at 9 News, its audience, or its advertisers. The statements made do not constitute medical, legal, or financial advice, and for advice tailored to your specific situation, please consult with a licensed professional. Welcome to the High at 9 News Hour, where you will hear from cannabis industry experts and professionals from around the country talk about important topics while shining light on global issues and discussing cannabis as it relates to politics, regulation and reform, data and technology, science, research and medicine, family and parenting, art, celebrities and entertainment, fitness, sports, mental health and wellness, and plant-based medicines and entheogenics. Together, we are building a stronger community, fighting the stigma and creating change. With your hosts, Jason Beck and Rico Lamitte, joined by special industry expert correspondents from around the country, and daily antics brought to you by Cannabis. Coming to you live every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific Time and high noon on the East Coast. And thank you all for getting high at 9 with us. Yes. Good morning, everybody. That's right. It is Tuesday, December 31st, the last day of the year. And Jenny Beth, you're going to love this because today is National Champagne Day.
Yay.
For the campaign.
Slice up some strawberries and make some bubbles.
We should have some right now.
It's also Make Up Your Mind Day because you know all you undecisive people out there. You know who you are.
My mind was made up yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
It's also a National No Interruptions Day, you guys.
Oh, let's work on that one.
It's a lesson in futility.
It'll never work.
And then I'm a little confused about this one. It says Leap Second Time Adjustment Day today.
What?
Yeah, exactly, bro. I was confused by that. It was trying to say like it's in like another daylight savings time thing. I was like, that's stupid.
Oh well.
Yeah, whatever. And that's right, you guys. It is also New Year's Eve. Turn the F up, you guys. Anyway, yes. Thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us. It's also high noon on the East Coast. And please remember to like, share, and subscribe to us on all social media platforms. You can look up above and down below to see exactly where we live on the internet. And we are live every Monday through Friday on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook, and on our very own website at www.highat9news.com. So welcome to all of you joining us from whatever platform you are. And kicking it off, that's right, we have the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte, who is in his rapper cap today, apparently. That's right, it is the dope dad.
He looks like he's going fishing, Jason. What are you talking about?
Oh, is
like a safari?
No, stop it. He's in his LL Cool J impersonation mode.
That's right.
Yeah. Why's it gotta be that? Was LL Cool J the only man on earth to ever wear a bucket?
Bucket hat and glasses? Yeah, LL Cool J, bro. That's what everybody knows him for.
I believe Ernest P. Worrell was wearing bucket hats before LL Cool J made him popular. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's definitely not a bucket hat. But anyhow.
Oh, whatever.
This ain't a bucket hat?
That's definitely a bucket hat.
So much, no,
Jenny's totally wrong.
Makes it not a bucket.
I'm pretty sure it's a bucket hat, but you know what? Republicans going to say what they're going to say, and whatever they say is law. Now we got Trump in office.
Well,
so I guess it ain't a bucket hat.
Can't wait.
So we can get
I guess it ain't a bucket hat.
Can't wait. Oh, that's right. It's the dope dad himself, Mr. Rico Lamitte.
Yeah, I'm on 3 today. I got some special heat for y'all to close out the year. All right.
Yes.
2024 has found its fair share of Jennifer Lopez's ex-boyfriends on the wrong side of the headlines. On the softer side of things, Drake found himself turning into the music industry's very first A-list Karen after losing a high-profile rap battle to Kendrick Lamar, leading to arguably the most prolific crash-out session in modern history. On the heavier side, it was Sean Puffy Combs, currently locked up in New York awaiting trial, who's been accused of literally hundreds of people for a litany of charges. I'm not sure we're allowed to list here without getting demonetized, so I'll just refer to it all as diddling.
Diddling.
And,
Allegedly.
and now, somewhere in the middle, we have Casper Smart. Smart was originally one of J-Lo's backup dancers before the two began dating soon after Lopez's split with her ex-husband, Mark Anthony. She and the rebound Boo Thang dated on and off for 5 years between 2011 and 2016, ended things on seemingly good terms, and Lopez often credited him with helping her heal from a tough time emotionally, referring to the split with Anthony. Fast forward to 2024, last week, 2 days before Christmas, according to TMZ, Casper Smart was busted for having an alleged cannabis grow operation in his Los Angeles home. Citing law enforcement sources, the outlet reported that police searched Smart's home on the morning of December 23rd after receiving a tip and found a small to medium-sized grow operation. Curiously, Smart was not taken into custody and was instead cited for and released at the scene. The case will reportedly be sent to the LA County District Attorney's Office to determine whether or not Smart will be charged. Now, this is all speculation at this point, but one has to wonder, with all this big crackdown on illegal grows talk coming from Governor Gavin Newsom's office and everything, that if Smart not being arrested and an alleged delay in charges has anything to do with the feds circling the wagons around Jennifer Lopez and her alleged ties to Puffy Combs diddling. Maybe in exchange for a pass for on the grow charges, he gives up a little information on what was really going on behind the scenes back in the day at all them after parties. I don't know. Maybe I'm reaching, maybe I'm not. Maybe I just wanted to make sure I left y'all in 2024 with a little bullshit celebrity news cliffhanger to avoid talking about politics before we ring in 2025. J-Lo's ex Casper Smart popped for allegedly trapping in LA right before Christmas. It has been a year, y'all. Cannot wait to hear the team's thoughts on this one. Now, Rico Lamitte, the dopest dad on the street for High 9 News. What y'all think? What do y'all think?
So do we know how many lights this grow was?
It said small to medium-sized grow.
Small to medium.
Probably 155 fluorescent with a couple clones.
Do we know what he was growing? Because I have a guess.
He was growing excuses for never going to those white parties.
Blue Dream, come on.
I mean, are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't Ghost OG he was growing?
Ooh, Casper! Shout out to Casper. I see what you did there, Jason. Bars.
Yeah, that was spooky.
I think the bigger story here is J-Lo has 5 ex-husbands.
I think the bigger story is he was snitched out, and LAPD is still putting resources into busting residential home grows.
Ooh.
The only risk of a home grow is that the electrical wasn't done to code. So why would that not be like a code enforcement or building consideration just to keep the neighborhood from burning up? Why are they sending the cops? And why are people snitching on this guy? And why does a guy have to be known as the ex-boyfriend of whomever? Like, that's just a terrible way to be identified. I want to stand on my own 2 feet, even if I have to do my own break dance.
Well, maybe he only stands on his toes.
Call the backup dancer.
Yeah, maybe he only stands on his toes, Yarrow.
I feel like J-Lo's boyfriend is an upgrade from J-Lo's backup dancer.
I agree.
I mean, he was kind of her backup boyfriend, though, really, because
dancer boyfriend.
Yeah, wasn't he a rebound?
Yeah, he was
from Mark Anthony, but at least he got to smash.
He was just a footnote.
So anyhow, this is stupid. Like, LAPD, thanks for wasting tax dollars. Glad I'm not paying taxes in LA County.
The interesting thing is they got a search warrant based on the snitchy snitch. So I guess they had a confidential, reliable informant. And I mean, they did get a search warrant. So they put some time and effort into this.
I wonder if they're. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Yarrow.
I was just going to say, if the size of the grow was such that it led to making this look worse, more criminal, more commercial, I think they would have indicated that in the article or in the press release or in however this information got disseminated. The fact that they didn't leads me to believe this guy's got a fucking Phototron in the kitchen cabinet and he's got like 3 plants he's growing in rock wool. Poor guy's got his little head stash and now he's got his head smashed and now he's going to have to go to court.
I mean, I'm willing to bet this was in the valley.
Personal grow. It's probably a personal grow. He's probably slightly over his 6 and that's why they didn't do anything about it, which is whatever. This will get thrown out. Won't get prosecuted.
That's why he's a backup boyfriend, because he was only slightly over the 6.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
can you get a Phototron, Yarrow? He used to own that company, Phototron.
Casper doesn't sound very smart, does he?
oh man, he definitely doesn't know how to disappear. I can tell you that much.
Hey, man.
Oh, see what you did there.
So my other question is in regards is we all know that this is a big waste of taxpayer resources. We all agree on that. But I'm still wondering the size of this grow, and I'm wondering even more if there was what do they call that, a controlled buy that happened that led to this.
If we've learned anything from Casper, it's not the size of your grow, it's how you shake it.
He is very friendly.
Are you saying that he like
by Jason, he would have been arrested for that, and it wouldn't have had to be this little grow ticket. So like,
is that all he got was a ticket? Are we sure about that? He didn't.
He was cited at the scene and released.
Yeah.
Cited at the scene.
And that's why Jennifer broke up with him, because he had an odoriferous internode and it just wasn't working for her.
Oh,
that 3 times fast.
Well, you guys are cute. You guys are cute. That was a fun little story there, Rico. We're gonna roll into our first commercial and we're gonna be right back. Oh, and
You're drinking.
Hey, y'all.
It's National Champagne Day, Jenny.
Jenny
Like
Beth,
you're one to
Jenny
talk
Beth
about
is-
drinking.
Hey,
Jenny Beth over there seems like she's a little
I
jelly.
drank on Thanksgiving on the show, but that's
Yeah, you need some peanut butter with that jelly, girl.
Oh, I'm not jelly. Not
Just
jelly.
saying,
Definitely
just
jelly.
saying.
I hear
Up
some jelly.
next,
Ditto.
High 9 News head honcho, the highest Republican in every room. Yeah, the man known for smoking the best weed in the world. And for some reason, he is also a proponent of H-1B visas.
Shout out to H-1Bs. Yeah,
Jason's back.
it's a new favorite strain, Rico. H-1Bs. Yeah. Where
H-1B.
Yeah, I'm sure Dr. Mark is gonna have a story saying that they found a new cannabis compound and they called it the H-1B too.
Yes.
Don't worry. I'm sure that story is coming, you guys. But
hold on, Jason.
what's that?
H-1B, H-1N1. Coincidence?
I think not.
It's
Oh
cute,
my God.
Cute.
Oh
Well, then
my
you
God.
also have to have another one that is an and one, right, Rico?
Oh, shout out to Ann One, man. Skip to my Lou. What you got for us today,
Well,
Jason?
I got an interesting story for you guys. We're gonna go all the way to Russia, because a U.S. teacher in Russian prison declared wrongfully detained. The Associated Press reports, you guys. That's right. The U.S. government has officially classified Mark Fogel, an American school teacher jailed in Russia on drug charges, as wrongfully detained. The State Department announced on the 27th of this month. Fogel, a history teacher from Pennsylvania, was arrested in August of 2021 at a Russian airport for possessing marijuana, which his family and supporters say was prescribed for medical use. He is currently serving a 14-year prison sentence, and Fogel's admission from a major prisoner exchange in August, which secured the release of Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and corporate security executive Paul Whelan, led his family to push for stronger U.S. government efforts. His advocates urged the Biden administration to classify him as wrongfully detained, a move that typically increases diplomatic efforts to secure a detainee's release. The State Department confirmed that Fogel received the designation, explaining that the designation followed a review of factors, including whether his detention serves to influence U.S. policy or extract concessions from the government. In a quote, "The United States has been working to secure Mark Fogel's release for some time. We have long called for his humanitarian release and tried to include him in the August 1st deal, but were unable to. The secretary determined Mark was wrongfully detained in October, and the department said, according to the Associated Press, the reason for the State Department's delay in announcing the designation remains unclear. With the designation, Fogel's case will now fall under the Office of the Special Presidential Envoy for Hostage Affairs, which focuses on negotiating the release of Americans wrongfully detained abroad." In a statement, Fogel's wife, Jane, and his sons, Ethan and Sam, reportedly expressed gratitude for the designation. And in a quote, "The State Department has finally acknowledged what we have known all along, that our husband and father, Mark Fogel, has and continues to be wrongfully detained," they said. Well, I wonder what type of trade the Biden administration may try to work up before January 20th, or if it'll all just get politicized and that won't happen. But I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Well, I think your boy is going to call his best buddy, right? And the dude out of there. Why doesn't this guy... He doesn't learn a lesson from Brittany Griner, right?
This guy was arrested before Brittany Griner.
Yeah. This is actually bullshit. We got Brittany Griner out.
Exactly.
Did a huge trade for an actual fucking agent of war for Brittany Griner, who is a convicted woman beater and doesn't pay her child support. She's a real one, apparently. And we let this man, who was literally over there to teach American diplomats' kids school, sit in prison for his fucking medical cannabis. That's the problem here.
I totally agree with you on that, Jenny.
And I totally agree with Jenny on this. I mean, first of all, if you're going to be a professional athlete in the United States, you pretty much do need to be a convicted woman beater. So there's that. But then the other thing is that Brittany
or
got
in the
all
Trump administration.
Whoa, pause.
Brittany got all the oxygen in the room, and we left people over there. And when she had an opportunity to speak and to use that platform, I didn't hear her speak, and I didn't hear her speak loud enough. I don't even think I heard her pipsqueak about the other people still detained in Russia over this plant. And this gentleman deserves to have a better 2025 than he had a 2024. And I just think that Jenny really hit the nail on the head. Like this is a human rights issue, and all of America should be incredibly upset at the fact that this gentleman is still detained.
I totally agree with you, Yarrow. That's exactly.
Did you say human rights issue? And talking about this guy? No, this isn't a human rights issue. This is a freedom issue. It's a plant. It's like Russia just needs to not be so catastrophically pejorative to cannabis.
Be so Russia about it.
Well, this is the thing.
Does that fall into human rights, though?
No, there's no human rights at all in this. There's actual human rights issues being fucking abused every fucking day, every minute in this world. So don't use this as the platform to say it's a human rights issue.
I would argue that the people's liberties to be able to interact with cannabis without fear of prosecution, whether that is incarceration or worse in some countries.
Real human rights issues, Yarrow. We shouldn't actually mix a fucking human rights issue with this issue.
It would be nice if I could finish the rebuttal, but if you want to interrupt me, you could just
gotta keep it real at the end of 2024, bro.
Yeah, but keeping it real also means you leave room in the sentence for somebody to respond.
Well,
sometimes keeping it real goes wrong.
It's National No Interruption Day, you guys.
Yeah, you guys are.
It ain't working. It ain't working. We're gonna have to.
What nation you talk about, Jason?
Well, here's the thing, Yarrow, because I totally agree with you that she has been totally silent on this, and I think part of the reason that she's been totally silent is because she's just been sucking on all those vape carts.
Yeah, so if I can, I'd love to be able to respond, Saman, but only if you agree that I can at least finish my sentences before you interject.
Go for it, Yarrow. Go for it.
Yeah, so I mean, when we talk about human rights, generally speaking, and you're allowed to define it how you want, but human rights tends to be the right to life, liberty, freedom from slavery, torture, freedom of opinions, the ability for free expression, the right to work and education, food, health care, and security of person, right to privacy, fair trial, and the freedom of religion. So peaceful assembly. So I do think that the right to life and liberty and personal freedoms does include the ability to interact with plants and to be able to use plant medicine without a fear of prosecution, persecution, incarceration, or worse in some countries. And so for me, I define that as part of human rights. Does it rise to the same level as sex trafficking and landmines? Probably not. But I would say that your response was myopic at best.
I mean, you just gave the American definition of what that is. That's what America is.
Ooh, bars there, Simon.
This is not what the whole world sees as human rights issues, bro. This is the American way of looking at your own rights and individual freedoms. So guess what, Yarrow? This is one country, one continent of how many? This is not the human rights issue of the day. But that's okay. That's the pathway you want to choose. That's the words you want to choose.
I don't speak for 280 million Americans, nor do I speak for 178 countries. I speak for myself. So,
but you're talking about freedom. You're talking about a viewpoint, and
that's right. That's my viewpoint.
You can
shit on it, but I don't think you can negate it.
I just don't think a definition has Yarrow's definition, Saman's definition. I think there's one definition.
Yeah.
But
if you could share that definition, that would be different than
denigrating. It ain't that. It ain't that. I can tell you that much. It ain't that. But there's a lot of real issues that have to be actually solved in this world, and cannabis is just one. But there's actual real issues in this world that are abusing human rights. Just human rights in general. Fuck the freedoms of choice. Just the general human rights of, hey, you're born in this world and now you have to live here. Okay, so that's how I define human rights. But either way, I can appreciate your definition of your term, but the term actually means something more, something bigger.
Yes, Saman.
Welcome to the last day of 2024. People.
Yeah, I would say that's Saman semantics, but I let you get the last word.
I like that. Saman semantics. That's good.
That could be a segment from
just say semantics and we
semantics.
Yes, semantics. I like this.
I mean, yes, but if Yarrow's definition is by definition the United States' definition of human rights, then yes, we as the American people should have given a fuck about this man sitting in a Russian prison because his human rights as an American citizen were being violated. So I think you guys can both be right on that one.
I think that's fair too, Jenny. And I'm just a little disturbed that we gave up the Merchant of Death for Brittany Grenier and didn't bring this guy home too. I mean, that should have been. They want you
to be mad at that shit, that bullshit.
All that wokeness.
The CIA was the biggest client of the Merchant of Death.
I agree. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that for 1 second. I don't doubt that for 1 second.
We dug our own hole on that, and the chickens come to roost at some point, and it just so happened it came at a bad time with bad optics, and Joe Biden took a bad turn.
And us releasing a bad hombre.
Ooh.
Yes.
Speaking of bad hombres,
yes.
What we got coming up next, Jason?
Speaking of that, we are going to roll right into the golden voice himself, Mr. Todd Denkin. He's a bad hombre himself. He's the founder of Digipath Labs and of the Smuggleverse, where you can buy all of your digital dank. That's right, it is none other than the golden voice himself, Mr. Todd Denkin.
Thank you very much, Jason. Happy New Year, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. 2024 saw a major international marijuana news in Germany, Ukraine, Australia, Poland, the UN, and other countries. That's right. Cannabis reform has become a global conversation in recent years as attitudes and evidence continue to change towards cannabis legalization. Considerable marijuana-related developments unfolded in the U.S. at both the state and federal levels. Here are some of the biggest international cannabis news stories of 2024. Germany has begun to legalize cannabis for adults. That's right. Ahead of what could be a pivotal election in early 2025, officials in Germany began implementing parts of a new cannabis legalization law that officially took effect in April. At that point, the legalization of possession and home cultivation for adults took effect. Social clubs began to open, providing members with legal access to marijuana products. December, Federal Minister for Food and Agriculture also signed off on a plan to allow for research-focused commercial marijuana pilot programs, test legal and regulated access to cannabis for consumers, the latest piece of the country's legalization law. Meanwhile, the city of Frankfurt recently announced plans to move forward with a 5-year pilot program that would make cannabis products available to adults more broadly. The city of Hanford also pursuing a similar plan. A number of other localities have also expressed interest in conducting the cannabis sales pilot projects. The results of the coming election could roll back the law. A recent survey found that most in the country, as many as 59% of eligible voters, support allowing adults to purchase cannabis from licensed stores. Medical marijuana is coming to Ukraine. That's right. Medical marijuana officially became legal in Ukraine this past year, allowing cannabis access for patients with severe illnesses and post-traumatic stress disorder resulting from the nation's ongoing conflict with Russia, which launched an invasion of Ukraine nearly 3 years ago. There's a Russia again getting into a story. Lawmakers approved the medical cannabis legislation last December, but the opposition party used a procedural tactic to block it by forcing consideration of a resolution to repeal the measure. That resolution failed in January, clearing its path to enactment. Despite the reform, products aren't expected to become available until sometime in early 2025, according to health officials in the country. Legal change officially took effect this past summer, but so far no products have become available as officials work to get infrastructure around the medicines up and running. While the text of the legislation as introduced explicitly listed only cancer and war-related PTSD as qualifying conditions, the Health Committee said in July that lawmakers were hearing daily from patients with other illnesses such as Alzheimer's and epilepsy. President Volodymyr Zelensky, for his part, voiced support for medical marijuana legalization in mid-2023, as well as during his presidential campaign in 2019, prior to Russia's large-scale invasion. UN officials continue to criticize drug war for calling focus on reducing harm. 2024 drew to a close. The UN's High Commissioner for Human Rights called on the international community to move away from punitive criminal drug policies, saying that the global war on drugs, quote, has failed completely and utterly, unquote. Criminalization and prohibition have failed to reduce drug use and failed to deter drug-related crime, according to Commissioner Volker Turk, a conference in Warsaw that included leaders and experts from across Europe. He said, these policies are simply not working, and we are failing some of the most vulnerable groups in our societies. He urged a shift to more evidence-based, human rights-centered approach, that word human rights again, human rights-centered approach to drug policies, prioritizing people over punishment. One report published by two organizations critical of the drugs recently found that $13 billion in U.S. taxpayer money has gone to fund worldwide counter-narcotics activities since 2015, often coming at the expense of efforts to end global poverty, while at the same time contributing to international human rights violations and environmental harms. In Poland, Polish lawmakers this year took an initial step toward decriminalizing marijuana in the country, sending a reform proposal to Prime Minister Donald Tusk, not to be confused with soon-to-be President Donald Trump, but Prime Minister Donald Tusk for consideration. Members of the parliament in the November measure proposed that the country stop criminalizing people over possession of up to 15 grams of cannabis and cultivation to up to one plant for personal use. Tusk had 30 days to respond to the petition, which is not legally binding as it would be for a former bill. The petition is more of a request from the legislative body for action on the issue. The Prime Minister is required to provide a written response with details about any steps the administration will take, an explanation if they don't intend to act on it, or a referral to another agency. Polish activists said in September that they met with an official in the country's health ministry to discuss marijuana decriminalization, which they reported received tentative supports. Interior Affairs Ministry official also weighed in on the issue in July, forwarding the recommendation to law enforcement too. Slovenia also in the news, as medical marijuana was already legal in Slovenia going into 2024. This year, voters approved a pair of advisory ballot measures in favor of home cultivation for medical patients, as well as non-commercial legalization for adults. A question asking whether patients should be able to cultivate the plant for personal use earned a 67% support from voters, while another asking whether all adults should be able to legally grow and possess the substance, a 52% support. Outcomes were advisory and not binding on lawmakers. Nevertheless, they could influence future legislation and contribute to the growing push for reform in the country. Slovena's National Assembly voted to put the question on the ballot in April. The country's National Institute of Public Health had taken a position against cannabis proposals. And then there's full legalization that fell short in Australia. An effort by Australia's Green Party to legalize marijuana nationwide fell short in November as lawmakers in the country's Senate voted 24-13 to block the legalization. Opposition was led by the governing Labour Party, opposition coalition Liberal and National parties. Despite the setback, the plan sponsor, Senator David Showbridge, said, "Vote nevertheless marked progress in the country's shift away from the war on drugs." Marked the first time Australia's federal parliament voted on a nationwide cannabis legalization bill. A post on social media, Showbridge vowed that despite the vote's outcome, we're not giving up on legalizing cannabis. Also would have legalized, regulated, and taxed cannabis at the national level, establishing the Cannabis of Australia National Agency, license and oversee the commercial industry, and maintain a national register for marijuana strains. Home cultivation for personal use as well as home processing of edibles would have been explicitly allowed under the bill. Would have also authorized creation of cannabis cafes where adults could use marijuana in a social setting. Cannabis remains illegal federally in Australia outside of the country's highly restrictive medical marijuana program. Some reforms have been adopted at the local level in past years. And Switzerland starts a pilot program. That's right, Switzerland dipped a toe into cannabis legalization last year, launching a regulated sales pilot program to open a limited number of participants in a handful of locations. For example, the program was open to a test group of 2,100 residents who were permitted to buy marijuana from pharmacies and social clubs. Participants then answer questions about how they consume the product and their health effects. Of a study with the University of Zurich, so-called Grass House Project, was also set to be undertaken in Basel Landschaft, open to nearly 4,000 participants. Products available from 5 pharmacies in Bern include 4 varieties of cured flower, 2 concentrates, 2 tinctures, 2 e-liquids meant for vaporization. So cannabis is taking over the world. What do you guys think is going to happen in 2025? Todd Denkin with at 9 News.
Oh man, 2025. There's going to be a lot.
This is the globalist show today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Apparently,
right. Yeah, it seems like everybody around the world wants to smoke weed.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking.
I mean, there's a lot of countries.
Novel.
Yeah, there's a lot of countries you just ran down. I mean, it's like you're like a Harlem Globetrotter all of a sudden.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it's great so people don't get arrested when they're freaking smoking weed in the country. You know what I mean?
Right. We over here, we're the Washington Generals.
Right. I also find it interesting, Saman, that this author called being able to use cannabis a human right.
I mean, that's what happens when you're trying to sell your position on cannabis. But what about all the other human rights issues that are being?
There are lots of them.
So many human rights. So many. If
I may.
No, you may not actually, Yarrow. You may not. So don't.
I think I can. That's why I'm on the show.
So don't. You may not. Don't.
The definition that I read off of human rights was adopted by the 1948.
Look. Are we talking about Todd's story? Or are we talking about the definition?
Hold on, Simon. Let Yarrow
get to do that. Sorry, buddy.
Let Yarrow go.
The definition that I read off of human rights was adopted in 1948, 70 years ago by the UN. Your response
was
UN. That as an American. Please don't interrupt. I know it's hard, but you can do it.
Oh, just want to make sure I know who the definition's coming from, Yarrow. UN definition of human rights. Got it.
I didn't need to give the footnote. You tried to invalidate it by saying that it was an American perspective, but the truth is it's 70 years old. It was done by the UN. It's reflected with Amnesty International, Human Rights Watch. And so you attempted to spin it as it being a very culturally specific definition. You're entitled to your own opinions, not necessarily your own facts. Not exactly sure why you're coming in super feisty today, but if you're going to, make sure you've got the information and the data to support your perspective. Now,
there's I'm not done. Yarrow, you're going to talk all day if we let you, bro. Yeah, someone's going to have to tell you to calm down.
Yeah, that's right. So in that, it talks about a right to privacy and personal liberties. And so the last person executed for cannabis possession was in 2023. So I would argue that if people are being killed for having a kilo of cannabis, and it happened less than 18 months ago, that it does fall under human rights.
Was Brittany Griner going to get executed? Is this guy going to die in jail for getting caught with cannabis in Russia? No. So why are you bringing up execution? Because that wasn't part of your story nor anybody's story. But yeah, if you're getting killed over a plant or whatever, and you're in a country that's executing you for that, maybe don't do it, or maybe leave the country. But like saying that, hey, it's a human rights issue, we have to protect cannabis users. How about protecting humans who are like getting slaughtered in the world based off of what? Off of something like so small as an idea that somebody has, and a definition that a governing body puts out there that's supposed to be a blanket definition for the whole world to understand and adopt. But that's not the truth, is it? So I love you, Yarrow, but it's like you can't pick and choose when you want to use the definition of human rights and for what. I'm just saying, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm putting this into the ether, because it's a real question that everyone has to ask themselves, for real.
Ideas aren't protected, Saman.
I love you guys. Thank you.
Ideas aren't protected. That's cute. That's cute.
I love you, though. I love you.
You want to follow that back up with anything, Yarrow?
No need.
No need. Okay. All right. You are.
I just want to say that National Interruption Day has been destroyed.
Yeah. You guys are not following along with National No Interruption Day, but
No Interruption Day.
Yeah.
We follow all the rules on this show.
Apparently.
That's right.
Apparently. Well, I mean, you are right, though, Yarrow, in the sense that 2023 is the last time someone was executed for having a kilo. And I don't understand how you're going to get out of that country, Saman, if you're a captive. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Not everybody is freaking Liam Neeson.
You're going to enlist to fight Ukraine, and then they're going to let you right out.
Not everybody is Liam Neeson, bro. And you know what I'm saying? Just going to be able
bro.
Just saying.
They call me Liam Neeson.
And on that, we're going to roll into our next commercial, and we're going to be right back.
I just ordered the summertime strawberry salad when added steak on top here at Anna's. Make sure you do the same thing too next time you're in downtown Long Beach. Come on down and check out Anna's joint on the 400 block of Pine Street. They have amazing selection of beers, foods, and when you come down here to Anna's, you can even challenge me to a game of shuffleboard if you want to lose. Did you get that? So, next time you're in downtown Long Beach on Pine Avenue, make sure you stop by Anna's Joint on the 400 block. Not only do they have Anna's Joint, this restaurant and bar, but they also have the amazing deli next door, and then next door to that, they have a very exotic flower shop. You may want to stop by and say hi.
Yes, and we're back. Stop whatever you're doing. Make sure you smash that like button. Be the last time we ask you to do that this year. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. We only need about 8 more subscribers to pass the 5,200 mark on our YouTube page. And also, too, please make sure that you're following us on X. We are trying to grow that channel as well. And all of the articles that we cover on today's show, you can read directly on our website at www.highnews.com.
Are you a business that's suffering from the hyperinflation that is plaguing America today? We have the solution for you. That's right, Patriot Business Financing. Head on over to www.patriotbfc.com and apply for a loan up to $2 million. Any state, any industry, even the cannabis industry, the CBD industry, as well as the industrial hemp fiber industry, secure up to $2 million today. And make sure that when you apply, you tell Paul you said hi from High at 9.
And we are back, Rico.
Yeah, y'all. Up next, we got the cannabis industry's favorite foul mouth from the South. The lady who says that nobody cooks better fried chicken than she does. Big shots fired yesterday to KFC, Popeyes, and all the rest out there. Shout out to churches. But she is the founder.
Rock hard biscuits. Shout out to Charshas for giving us weapons.
Ooh, more bars for them today.
What about
You're
Raising
beating somebody to
Cane's,
death
you
with it.
guys? Any thoughts on Raising Cane's?
Raising Cane's just some chicken tenders, man. You tender-hearted today, Jason. Tender-hearted. But she is the founder of Cannabis Consulting and Justice Serve 501c3, here to break us off with a little New Year's Eve heat. Jenny Beth Dills.
All right. Well, I have good news. And hopefully we're gonna get through it quickly. I don't have attitudes, sassy pants. Shout out to the Hawaiian people, because Governor Josh Green has issued an executive order to protect medical cannabis caregivers from enforcement ahead of key legal changes set to take effect on January 1st. In the last ass second. Thank you for finally getting there. The executive order signed on Monday directs the Hawaii Department of Health to refrain from using resources to pursue enforcement actions against caregivers cultivating cannabis for qualifying patients, as long as they operate within the current legal framework and do not commit significant violations. Governor Green, who is also a physician, expressed concerns that the upcoming changes to the law could negatively impact patients who rely on their caregivers for access to medical cannabis. In his statement, he emphasized the importance of ensuring continuity of care for these patients. Continuity of care, excuse me. We have medical cannabis statutes to provide patients the relief each desperately needs as they navigate very serious health issues, Governor Green said. We must protect the patients and their caregivers when the caregivers cultivate cannabis for patients in a manner that fits squarely within the spirit of the medical cannabis law. The Department of Health voiced its support for the governor's decision. DOH Director Kenneth Frank said, the Hawaii Department of Health strongly supports continuing to allow primary caregivers to cultivate medical cannabis for qualifying patients as needed for the patient's health. To ensure long-term support for caregivers and patients, Governor Green is urging the state legislature to revise the law. His goal is to guarantee that caregivers can continue providing these essential services to those most in need. A copy of the executive order, number 2406, is now available on the state's website. I am stoked about this news. I was very, very, very disappointed to review what they were actually going to put into law in Hawaii that would have destroyed the caregiver program, a program that has existed on the island for a very long time. As you guys don't realize how deep Hawaii's medical cannabis community goes and how they probably predated most people. So I'm really excited to see this going through. I'm really excited to see the governor standing up, and I think it resonates a lot harder because he is a medical doctor, so he's standing on a very firm perspective. So thank God, in the nick of time, the Hawaiian people will still be able to take care of their patients and their caregiver system.
This is good news, Jenny Beth. Look at that. A good news story for the last day of the year.
A little bit. Jenny Beth, you're pretty tapped into Hawaii and the Hawaiian movement out there. Are they still struggling to find any native ownership out there?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a group that owns most of the dispensaries that are mainlanders, and they are definitely very clearly tied into politicians out there. And there's very clear underhanded dealings happening. So hopefully that will change. The native Hawaiian people will be given back an industry that should have been theirs the entire time.
Interesting.
Maybe they can get some reparations through cannabis for real, though. How about that?
They're not going to get no reparations through cannabis. Stop it, bro.
I said maybe. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, maybe pigs will
put
fly.
Out some positivity out into the world for 2025, Jason.
Maybe pigs will fly, Rico.
Well, I think this is a huge step because, like, it's very important. Hawaii is a different culture, right? They're not us. They're not necessarily so greed based. So, like, for them to have their caregivers system stripped from them was a huge thing because, like, they're, you can't get everything on the island. A lot of things have to come in. So as much as they can sustain communities and sustain each other, they do. So to take that system away from a community like that and a culture like that was a huge knock to the people of Hawaii. So, and there's obviously a very different thing. And, we look at Colorado and the caregiver system, and people were a caregiver, and we had all these friends that were signed up so that we could grow 99 fucking plants in our house and shit like that, right? That's different. We know that the intentions weren't always to make RSO for sick people and give free weed to grandmas, right? It was definitely a for-profit situation in a lot of instances. This is a truly caregiver-based system that is really important and needs to be sustained for the Hawaiian.
Thank you for saying that, Jenny Beth.
Well, go ahead, Yarrow. Go ahead.
This is agree with Jenny Day. I mean, like, I just feel like everything that comes out of her mouth, I'm just nodding my head like a little bobble dog on the back of a car because I just really, really align with what she's saying. I went to Hawaii this month. went to a cannabis competition out there. I went out there and I sell a fair amount of land here in Northern California or wherever the opportunity presents itself. And I looked at the way in which real estate marketing was being done out there, and I thought, wow, there's room for me to maybe divide my time between NorCal and Hawaii, and maybe after the kids are out of high school, that might be something I could do and justify being there. And as I started to explore that with a friend of mine who lives in Hawaii and has for decades, I realized it was the worst idea that's come to mind in a really long time, because of the deeply painful history of colonialism there, even though one can argue that all of the United States has been stolen from somebody or some peoples. In Hawaii, it's extremely pronounced and very painful. And I wouldn't personally want to be on the receiving end of money that was a byproduct of the continued occupation of those islands. And the agricultural contribution, the genetic contribution, and it is that Hawaii and Hawaiian cannabis can offer both nationally and globally, is being stifled. And what this governor did was fix a problem that was created by the government with the sun setting. And I went over there and I talked to people who had permits prior, and there's a lot of people there who don't have a lot of money, and the income disparity there between the people who are vacationing and have the resources to do that and the people who are barely getting by was really pronounced and very visible to me. And so I just, hats off to Jenny for highlighting this and for what she said. I just completely agree with her.
Hawaii Sustainable says he's not every board certified physician. He sucks. That's coming from Hawaii Sustainable out there.
Well, that's
Hawaii.
cool. I mean, he can suck, but he just protected your caregiver program, so suck on that, I guess. I don't know.
Sucking in the right direction.
Really important. I mean, like, I don't understand how you could be upset about him protecting this. And he, maybe as a governor, you don't love him all the way around. That's totally fine. But a blind hog finds a nut some days, right? So he can.
Look at that! Yeah.
What was that one? That's a new one.
I know.
A blind hog finds a nut once in a while.
That's the first time I've heard that one.
Finds the truffle. I didn't know. They find nuts too.
Nut.
I found
but
nut.
I mean,
everybody's looking for a nut.
Listen, you guys might want to fancy it up in the Persian community, Simon, but down in the country we say blind hog finds a nut. Wrap some gold gilded shit around it. I got you. Dress up my thing.
Dip it in chocolate. Dip it in chocolate, baby. I spent a lot of time
speaking down there, and I'll be back down there speaking in February, which was awesome, and speaking to their leadership team. And their leadership team, it was very, very, very clear who's up for re-election and who wanted to say, well, I put this bill forward, I put that bill forward. Well, none of them fucking passed. So shut up and miss me with it until you can pass something that's meaningful. And none of you have done anything to protect the Native Hawaiian people. You're sitting there trying to protect your own asses. And it's been very, very, very clear. So, I mean, maybe he's not the greatest governor, but I think this is protecting the caregiver program is absolutely, absolutely huge. And so I am thrilled with this news. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. And I'm happy my DMs are open. Send me an email, whatever. You can give me your side of it. I wish I would have gotten my RFQ in time, but I didn't get asked to submit it until 48 hours before deadline. And that's a lot to ask. So there'll be some more advisement going on, and hopefully we can right some wrongs over there. But yeah, Yarrow, I think that was, to your point, very wise of you to decide that would be an asshole thing to do, to go over there and start putting up your Yarrow Kubrin realtor at large signs, because
his signs are large.
Maybe, I don't know. I'm like, even when I'm speaking, I'm like, I'm speaking reverently because I realize that I'm a mainlander and I'm not trying to step on any toes. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. And I try to come from a place of, hey, I want to help you guys, not myself. Look
at that. She claims she hasn't even been drinking yet this morning, and she's been blessing us with nothing but bars today.
Oh,
shout out to Jenny Beth.
Can he be a realtor at small? Right?
Yeah.
Can you be a realtor that small is the question.
Are you living in reality?
No, it's an interesting thing because we're tasked when we're not billionaires with earning a living, providing for our families, and figuring out a way to provide value in that process. And being in real estate for almost 25 years, that tends to be the lane that I'm in. And there is this argument that all land has been stolen, and I have blood on my hands if I help a piece of land trade in Mendocino, because that could have been Pomo land in the past. But in Hawaii, it's even more pronounced. And I had some time to think about it, and I had some time to talk to people there. And it's like, I'm not going to sell land in Gaza either. There are places that are just like,
There's
it's
plenty of
not.
people trying though, Yarrow, right?
God, I mean, it would be nice if I could finish a thought.
So Saman, we got to stop the interruptions, bro.
Dude, seriously.
That was so lame. That was ridiculous. You even said that, bro.
What's ridiculous is that you're interrupting me and not allowing me to finish.
Say something valuable, you won't get interrupted. Maybe
Fight. Just fight.
I mean, if you need a timeout, you can do it during the commercial. But what I was trying to make a point of, and would appreciate if I could make that point, is there are places where the issues are so much more important than our ability to earn a living as professionals in doing whatever we do. And I feel that in Hawaii, especially, it's an incredibly painful and recent history there, and that people who are non-native need to be very mindful of that in the way that they approach whatever it is that their profession is. You have the floor, sir.
Anything you want to say? Put on that, Simone?
No, just talking about the story though. I mean, I just wish this happened earlier. We had a good friend of ours who was a caregiver, and they got raided, and it kind of lopsided a lot of the game out there, because there was a native group that was, long standing in that community, and they got kind of wiped out. So, it's those types of things that, it's great that this is happening, but when there's not enough of those OGs left in the game and they're all wiped out, and the only pathway is for people that are outside that land to come in there and make commerce, we're just creating and perpetuating that situation, right? So it's like, it's too late to say we wish we could, or we could, there's nothing to change now. It's done. So it's how you can prevent that thing from happening in the future with other native cultures that are going to be joining in this cannabis industry, this global cannabis industry. There's a lot that we don't see being in America. Obviously, there's a lot of cultures outside the United States that have been growing cannabis for a long time, not just on the islands, but a lot of places in South America, for instance, in Latin America, for instance. But our perspective and our way that we introduce business and commerce into our socioeconomic situation in this country is a certain way, and it's all about the numbers, it's all about the revenue, and it's not about the people, and that needs to change. So hopefully that can all get rewrote, but I don't know if there's enough runway left to change the course at this point. So let's hope that they make a big impact in Hawaii. We'll keep an eye out, and we'll keep running the stories. But I don't know what else there is left for such an amazingly beautiful place to try to grab a hold of what's going on there, because it is very difficult. Once the ball gets rolling, it's kind of unmanageable, and you just are at the whim of the money that's coming into this industry. So let's hope it changes. But yeah, it's a great story. Thanks, Jenny.
All right.
Civility. I like that.
I'll see you motherfuckers next year. I'm about to go spend some time with the most important person in my life.
All right, well, we're going to jump into a commercial, and we're going to be right back.
Are you a business that's suffering? Are you all ready for America's new #1 D9 gummy line? That's right, we are bringing to you Parody Gummy. These vegan gummies are manufactured in a safe harbor facility, so they're going to be clean and safe, and they're not going to give you any of the runaround. Coming in, we have 3 amazing flavors for you. We have the Raspberry Riots. Also, we have the Sleepy Joes if you need something to help you sleep at night. And if you're feeling like raging and having a party time, that's right, we have the Pineapple Bad Hombre. If you're feeling like a bad hombre, make sure you head over to www.parodygummy.com and secure your bag today.
Oh, and we are back, you guys. Yes, coming up next, that's right, it is the man who needs a phone book to pick up off the shelf. That's right, just so he can be just at the perfect height to see over the screen. That's right. He does cannabis real estate, not just in California, but apparently in Hawaii too, with a really big sign. That's right. It's none other than Mr. Yarrow Kubrin.
Not Hawaii. Oh, God. Are you subscribing to the Saman School of Listening today? I said not in Hawaii. Not. No, thank you. I don't want blood money. Oh, man. Spicy day. Finishing out the year. Tuesday, December 31st. Rounding out 10 a.m. Pacific time. This is Yarrow Kubrin, High at 9 News. Thank you for all our listeners and people tuning in today. My article brings me all the way to Kentucky. And so without further ado, published within the last 24 hours, Kentuckians will have to choose between firearms and medical cannabis starting January 1st. As Kentucky prepares to implement the new medical cannabis law, the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, i.e. all the fun stuff, is warning residents that if they register for the medical marijuana program, they are legally not allowed to own or buy guns. They definitely need to be aware of the risks. If you lie on that form, it's federal perjury. If you get caught with it, it could be time in jail of up to 10 years, says Matthew Bratcher with Kentucky NORML. Matthew Bratcher said the federal statute has been challenged in different states over the years. Most recently, U.S. district courts in Oklahoma and Texas have both ruled the federal law unconstitutional, but neither case has made it to the Supreme Court. So, for the time being, he said there are a couple things you can do. Talk to an attorney who specializes in firearm law who can help you lay a path down. There might be an option to transfer the ownership of those weapons for some time to someone else who can hold them, Bratcher said. According to a statement from the ATF, they said any person who uses marijuana, regardless of whether his or her state has passed legislation legalizing it for medicinal purposes, is an unlawful use of a controlled substance and is prohibited from possessing firearms or ammunition under federal law. To push for change, we need to let our federal representatives in Washington know that this is how we feel. Reach out to your state rep, your senator, let them know this is something we want to see done. Blatcher said gun dealers could also be charged for knowingly selling firearms to medical marijuana card holders and users. All right, short article. I'm going to kick off my opinion. Shots fired, all pun intended. So, it is not a human rights issue to own a gun. In the United States, for many, it seems like that's been enshrined as something that they're, because it's in our, right to bear arms, right? Second Amendment. It did say a well-regulated militia in the Second Amendment. It didn't say all citizens, but we've been talking about this on the show. And why is it that somebody has to give up their Second Amendment right, as however that's being currently defined, in order to have the right to have a medical cannabis card? This is another example, in my opinion, of stifling participation in the medical program by forcing people to have to make a trade-off in terms of what they feel is most important to them. I can't say that this is a good thing. I'm troubled that the Supreme Court hasn't already weighed in on this, given that other states have. And I'd love to hear what my other guests, pundits, and panelists think and feel about this article today.
I mean, this is just sounds like a whole bunch of gaslighting to me.
Yeah, I don't think anybody disagrees with you on that one, Yarrow, because I think this should have been at the Supreme Court's on the docket a long time ago, man. Like, how many states? Was it like 4 states have already brought this to their highest courts? Mm-hmm. Why is this not in the Supreme Court?
Yeah, you would think the NRA would get behind it, to sell more guns, right? Increase their users, but the
NRA NORML collab.
Yeah,
there you go. It's funny you say that, Todd, because here's the thing, right? They need to get enough pothead gun owners to step up and tell them it's an issue, but how many pothead gun owners are going to step up and incriminate themselves?
Yeah, exactly.
Themselves in that situation.
Well, just the medical patients, though, because you can own a firearm anywhere cannabis is legal, for adult use.
Like this issue, I think hindsight is always 2020. I think this issue would be excellent, like a ton of other issues, to have just given to the veterans to plead their case on this one, man. Like, let them plead their case. Like, you're gonna take your guns away from the good people who fought our wars.
Call Sean Kiernan.
Do that? Like, no, like real talk. I think the biggest misstep that our industry has made over the last 8-9 years is the fact that none of these big touch point issues have been tied to veterans, right? Like, every single one of them should have been, and that's an easy way to get an answer real quick. Like, oh, you don't like guns, you don't like veterans. Oh, you don't like weed, you don't like veterans. Let them talk their piece, man.
Well, it's kind of clear that the American government doesn't like veterans. The American people likes veterans, but the government doesn't treat them too well.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point, Todd. But here's my question, and I'm not surprised by this by Kentucky putting this out there. But first of all, how are they going to know in the first place? And secondly, how is a gun owner even supposed to know if someone is a patient? And like, why would they be held liable for selling a gun for someone lying on a form? Like, that is just totally just ridiculous.
You're asking people to snitch.
Exactly.
Well, they're creating exposure and liability for gun dealers in a way that is different than what we've seen in the past, right?
Are their insurance rates going to go up, Yarrow?
Of course they will, because the risk goes up. And so that's going to be a cost to gun dealers that will be passed down to gun customers.
I think the system's all fucked up. Just put it that way. The system is all fucked up. Like, where does HIPAA compliance even come into play here? Right?
What about the red flag laws in all these states, where they can call the cops on you and say, "Hey, you're crazy, and you had a bunch of guns," and the cops are going to show up and take your fucking guns. So it's like, I mean, cannabis is now just another name on the list of things that they can say, "Hey, this person's smoking this person's smoking fucking THCA diamonds all day. Yeah. And they got a bunch of fucking ARs and they live in Colorado." Hey, it doesn't matter. It's like, that's why they created those laws, to restrict you, because, even though it's in our Constitution and is a citizen right as an American citizen to, keep and bear arms.
It's an inalienable right.
As per the Second Amendment,
yes.
At being an American citizen, it's like, you can't come into this country as a non-citizen and possess a gun under the auspice of the same rules, right? Because it's for American citizens. So this, these words we want to throw around, like it's our God-given right, or it's our this, or well, guess what? It depends on where you live, doesn't it? And if it's something like, I mean, look, that's the reality, and unfortunately, we have to fight that battle on many fronts. But this is just another hurdle and another added, like twister move for anybody that's trying to navigate being a citizen, owning a gun, and having a medical cannabis card to get their medicine or get their their health benefits from a natural medicine source rather than a pharmaceutical source, because we don't restrict anybody who's on any psychotropic medicines or any kind of or
alcohol
or any kind of amphetamines, right? That's being prescribed those things. That's a gun owner. So
it's an American tragedy, Saman.
It's a travesty.
I think it's a travesty. It's a mockery. It's a sham. Yeah. And it needs to be dealt with.
But it's not about public safety. It's not. It's literally they're just trying to figure out how to chop up the pie, and then once they figure that out, everything's going to become easy again for everybody. But it's we have to share with greedy politicians everything we do, and that's really the problem. We have to figure out how to get people that actually have some skin in the game, that want to see this succeed for the right reasons and want to see our society thrive for the right reasons. And that's what I hope 2025 is and beyond.
I would challenge any insurance adjuster to find me the data that shows it's more risk for a cannabis user to have a gun rather than somebody who regularly drinks alcohol.
Yeah, the problem
that data does not exist.
They're just protecting. They're just protecting the population, because if you have your Desert Eagle in one hand and your Puffco in another hand, and you accidentally put the wrong one in your mouth, you could hurt yourself.
I wonder if Luigi was a medical patient.
Oh boy.
Oh man, we don't even want to go there, bro. Then it's gonna be, we're never gonna get cannabis insurance.
No, his insurance didn't approve it. That was obvious.
He was in Pennsylvania. He's a Pennsylvanian.
The real question is,
he was definitely not smoking botanical terps in his weed. That's for sure.
if Luigi was a patient, if Luigi was a patient, Rico, was Mario his caregiver?
Mario's the OG.
See what you did.
Mario's the OG. He laid the pipe first.
Yes. But this just ties into the story that I covered yesterday about Kentucky, about them saying that if you are a patient under Kentucky's new law and you're caught smoking flower even in your home, you can have your medical recommendation revoked. And this just adds another layer onto that and creates another thing for Karens to get involved with.
Here's something that Donald Trump will not, I guarantee you the new Trump administration will not touch. How about we abolish insurance? How about that?
Well,
Rico, you're gonna be next on the chopping block, bro. Luigi Mangione is gonna come after you next, bro.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think insurance is important, Rico, but I think what we need to have is insurance, and we need to have a free market. We need to have a free market for insurance. We don't need to have insurance that's hampered by state laws.
It sounds like Obamacare that you're talking about.
No. I want a free and open market of healthcare to where hospitals can basically, you're gonna have like one hospital in the country that specializes in like all the best heart surgeries in the world, and if you need heart surgery, then you're gonna go there, and they're gonna be able to offer it at the best prices, and give you the best service and everything else like that. And that's how our healthcare system needs to be. This insurance shopping based off the fact that you can only purchase insurance from issuers in the state that you reside in is totally ridiculous. And we see that with the price inflation in all of these, in a lot of these different states, that because cannabis is hampered in that same way as far as the commerce.
Jason, Obamacare attempted to do that initially.
No, it didn't. Not even close, Rico. Stop the gaslighting. Obamacare did not attempt to do that at all. Stop it.
We got the watered down.
Stop
version.
Stop it.
16 years later,
you're smoking.
Really, no one should be struggling just to live and to pay their medical bills in our society these days. That's a simple.
And they say like
doesn't matter what side doesn't matter how partisan you want to make this. It's literally just a fucking fact.
And they say that like 20% of all bankruptcies come because of medical bills. And when we look at the gross domestic product of this country and how much of that is allocated to healthcare profits, this notion of the free market, first of all, the free market is an ivory tower theory. We don't have a free market. We have tiers of opportunity that is not entirely free. And the idea that you would take a Friedman free market capitalist perspective and apply it to healthcare means that you're taking a business approach to healthcare. And I'm going to go again to argue with Simon. I would say that healthcare is probably a human rights issue, and that according to the UN, I'm giving you the footnote, 75 years ago, people are entitled.
Hold on, Simon. Let Yarrow finish. Simon, let Yarrow finish first.
Mute yourself. Don't let him seriously. Mute yourself. I didn't say edit yourself, just mute for a second. It works. And so if we think about the right for people to be able to live and not suffer and not just survive, but have wellness, homeostasis, and a quality of life, the idea that healthcare is a business in and of itself is a pretty corrupted model to begin with. And it's just, if we're going to make America great again, we need to look at where this country is in terms of healthcare as an industrialized nation. And I don't even think we're in the gold, bronze, or silver category. And so there's a lot of room for improvement there. And I do think that we all deserve to have a greter level of protection where we're not going bankrupt because we got cancer.
And before we move on, for that, you got to give a little bit of shout out, Jason. You got to give a little bit of shout out on the way out of 2024 to Joe Biden and them making sure that medical debt is no longer on people's credit reports.
Did they do that?
Out of those student debt relief programs, bro.
Did they actually do that? I'm not sure if they actually did that.
Yeah, they did that. Yeah, they did it. Yeah, last week.
Well, good job to them on that. Good job to them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like a small victory.
I give credit where credit is due. I can't believe that the do nothing Democrats actually did something productive for the American people, but nonetheless, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta give shots like that. I'm saying, yo, a small victory right there, man.
I just gave him props. You know what I'm saying? Just because I didn't give him props the way you wanted me to give him props doesn't mean I didn't give him props, Rico.
That proposal was actually on Hunter Biden's laptop, and when they found it, they were able to push it through.
Oh, because they were trying to get crack covered by insurance companies.
Hey man, cocaine has medical benefits.
So all those harm reduction clinics in San Francisco and across the country, just giving everybody all this.
You can't smoke
free access to dope.
The minute you light up some cocaine, it loses all of its medical benefits.
After being interrupted so many times today, I need a little stint in a harm reduction clinic.
Oh God! Oh boy!
All right,
Yarrow, you should.
Oh my God, this has been a fun one to close us out today, y'all. I just want to say big thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of you that have stuck with us all throughout 2024. It has been a doozy.
Rico, we still have to introduce Saman. Saman has a story, bro. That was cute.
Okay, we can end. We can just end it.
Oh God damn!
Yeah, bro, you're messing up, bro. You're jumping the gun, bro. You thinking it's.
I jumped the shark. Get my Fonzie on right here. We're way over time. Well, either way, I gotta say I love y'all, and because I got to dip after this intro.
Okay, so, fair enough.
But either way, we up next. We have the man who is he's an award-winning solvent extraction pioneer with years and years in the game. And he has come out of the globalist closet and he is challenging us all to take a globalist viewpoint when it comes to empathy. None other than the man who teaches post-menopausal women to press rewind before they press hello, hi again, and put play on those ovaries as they hop into the bed with him. Am I right, Saman Razani?
Not at all.
Oh, well, Saman's married, bro. Saman's a married man, bro.
Am I right?
Rico, I need to give you some definitions to do some homework on for 2025. But thank you all very much. Thanks, Rico.
I'm screwing y'all. But Saman Razani, break us off with the last story of the year, bed. I love you, and I had to interrupt you one more time just to say that.
Thanks for the lukewarm intro and the limp handoff. I appreciate that, Don.
It was very mid. It was very mid.
Here.
2024.
And in 2024, strong. Okay. As my esteemed co-host was saying, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor to spend every Tuesday with you beautiful people. Can't thank you enough. 2025 is a whole new year. It's a whole new time to shine and a whole new way to get under Yarrow's skin. So 2025, people, get ready. I got a great article today out of Indiana, the Hoosier state. Okay, Fox 59 reports Indiana Republican leaders signal hesitation to legalize medical marijuana in 2025. Dun, dun, dun. Indianapolis. Although almost 90% of Hoosiers support legalizing medical marijuana, Republican leaders have signaled that might not happen next session. With regard to medical marijuana, I really have, it's no secret that I'm not for this, Indiana Senate President Pro Tem Roderick Bray said during a 2024 Denton's legislative conference earlier this month. I don't have people coming to me with really compelling medical cases as to why it's so beneficial. Huh. Interesting. Maybe this guy's a doctor. Maybe not. Probably not. Bray's counterpart in the Indiana House, Speaker Todd Houston, echoed similar sentiments during the conference. I will push back on we're behind because I'm not sure that we're behind on, Houston said. If we're behind on having fewer people used to an addictive substance, I don't know. I'm okay with that. Bray went on to say he hoped lawmakers would shift their focus next session from marijuana to Delta-8, a psychoactive substance found in hemp. Is that a legal product? Is that something that should be legal? If it is, it's certainly, I think anyone would argue that it needs to be regulated in some way, shape, or form, Bray said. There's no current age requirement on hemp use, Alicia Tucker, treasurer of the Indiana branch of the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws, NORML, said. According to Tucker, the Midwest Hemp Council is pushing for legislation that would create a regulatory framework for the hemp industry in Indiana. If we could get a hearing on the hemp bill, I think that bill is going to really provide the framework for the medical marijuana bills and the recreational bills, Tucker said. In a statement, the Safe and Regulated Indiana Coalition said, as we share with our recent survey, 7 of 10 Hoosiers voters agree that it's time to legalize marijuana for those ages 21 and over in a safe and regulated manner, similar to alcohol. Our growing coalition is looking forward to working with the Indiana General Assembly this legislative session to be sure Hoosier voices are heard. That was Joe Elsner from Safe and Regulated Coalition. In response to her Republican colleagues' comments, Indiana State Minority Leader Shelley Yoder said her caucus will still push for reasonable, regulated access to medical marijuana next session. If we work together in bipartisan way, we can create a well-regulated market for Hoosiers who desperately want access, Yoder said. And that's my article. You know, it's very interesting. I mean, Indiana is an interesting state. For one, they have Purdue University there, which is a big pharma industry and a big biochem industry, or big biochem school for a feeder for the pharma industry. And so I know that there's a lot of cannabis professionals, and some of actually the most notable cannabis scientists came from Indiana, of all places. So I know that there's definitely a long-standing history there and actual programs in the university programs that the state funds that are medical cannabis programs. So I don't know where this is going to come out, but I hope that they figure it out. But it sounds like what they're trying to do is limit the unregulated hemp market there and, try to promote a regulated cannabis market. The problem I see is that they're not doing it fast enough or well enough. And when you don't do that, when you don't give access, the entrepreneurs find a way around. And then you have this, these two cannabis markets in the same state, and one of them is regulated and one of them is not. So hopefully they get it together. I can only imagine that we'll see some more come out of Indiana soon, and Kentucky and all the neighboring states down there. But this is Saman Razani signing off for the last time in 2024. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Much respect. What do you all have to say about this? Any Indianans in the chat?
Man, you know what? Indiana, you're right, Saman. I know a number of growers that home base was Indiana, and these guys produce absolute fire. And so the state of Indiana has contributed a lot to the cannabis community overall, and provided a lot of relief for a lot of people over the years from people that grew up or went to school in Indiana. So
definitely. I know Mark Lewis is from Indiana, NAPRO Research. Shout out NAPRO, and they're he's probably the most reputable breeder out there that actually has like real IP that's not on a craft scale that does like super interesting stuff that we all want to smoke, but does commercialized seed production that's homogenized. I think that's like that's the next level of where this is all going. But it comes from of course pseudo ag based community, right? It's like that's what this is. This is an agro business, needs to be handled and regulated and authorized as such, and that's where hopefully we'll see things move in 2025 and beyond. But this is going to be a doozy of a year, people.
Yeah, and shout out to Homegrow Wicked in the chat, who says, I'm from Indiana, and yeah, we got good weed.
Hell yeah.
I think part of the story is how these legislators are going against the will of the people yet again, right? How does this happen? How do these Republican leaders get elected and then don't listen to constituents.
Well,
Todd,
let's not make it entirely partisan for a second, right? Because the Republican leaders don't listen to the will of the people, and the Democrats do theatrical performance by
just
pardoning
happens to
people
be
with misdemeanors,
they don't listen. They don't listen. Yeah, Hawaii is a perfect example.
There's varying degrees of gaslighting and bullshitting and not really moving the needle. So I don't know that it's really fair to create a partisan rubric for this. I think what's most astonishing is that the person who's quoted, the Senate pro tem, said, I don't hear a really compelling argument. People aren't coming up to me saying that they need this. And it flies in the face of 30, 40, 50 years of studies and medical testimonials, not just in this country, but around the world. And so it's not fair for people who are in a position of power, who are enacting policy, to say that because their anecdotal experiences, that people in their sphere didn't come up to them and say, oh, I have this compelling reason why there should be this, that they shouldn't move the needle forward and look at other markets, other states, other jurisdictions to see what progress might look like. And that's a pretty backwards way of creating policy. Well, nobody's come up to me and given me a compelling argument.
Yeah.
It's like, go use your internet connection, you stupid.
I mean, or the guy that was like, hey, no one's told me a good enough reason or it's like, what? Like, you're determining this? Come on.
Exactly.
Like, come on. This is ridiculous. Right. But gladly he would send his grandmother to a doctor to get prescribed Percocet or something because her knee hurts. And it's like, dude, this is the problem. This is ultimately, it's a bigger issue than even just an industry. It's just the way that the competing industry, like the healthcare industry, is kind of quashing our legitimacy as being an alternative source of medicine.
And this guy says he doesn't have people, coming to him with compelling things. It's like, why doesn't he just Google Charlotte's Web? I mean, he doesn't. What is it that is preventing him from exposing himself to the information that is widely available beyond people just coming up to him, so that he can either make an educated decision or defer that decision to medical care professionals who have spent their entire lives training to treat people?
Yeah, I mean, but also those, it comes with more than just that. It's like you have to have an open mind. As a doctor, I have a lot of doctors in my family. My sister-in-law is a doctor. She's an emergency room DO. I mean, there isn't just a single solution, but the reason why we are so so exposed to pharmaceuticals in our society is because of a deal that pharmaceutical companies make with these healthcare providers, these insurance companies, and that's really where all the issues come from. One day we'll see cannabis as a viable thing for insurance companies to pay for. But it comes at the cost of where that weed is grown, how it's grown, and who's able to vend it to you. And so this is like a duplicitous thing, because we want it to be so mainstream, but with that comes the extraction of everything good from that industry. And such a bland kind of presentation for us to have to say, okay, that's the Marlboro, that's the the Camel, and that's what we're willing to accept because that's what they're willing to pay for. Mm-hmm. I think that when it comes down to all of this, it's like everyone really needs to use their voice. But I mean, we have been, and we're still in this position. So what gives, and I think in 2025 we can all ask ourselves, what's gonna be the straw that's gonna break this government camel's back?
The camel's back.
Yeah, baby.
Is the camel named Joe?
It sure is right now, still for another couple weeks here, Jay. But I think that we're going to ask ourselves what more we can do. And if you're really serious and if you're really about that, then you'll get out there on the front lines and you'll be using your voice like all of the rest of us. But I hope to say that we're going to see massive changes. I think that we're at the front end of a long line and years of change, but it's going to take a while, and it's never going to be as quick as we want it to. So hopefully in our lifetime is what I can keep saying and telling myself. But we'll see.
Look, how about letting the people vote and then doing what the people say?
No way, bro.
I agree. I agree with that, Todd, all the way. I agree with that all the way. I just don't get
it. These folks in power, they think they know better. They think can operate better. They think, oh, well, the people don't really want this, even though they voted for it.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
They voted for it, but they didn't understand what it meant.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah, get that the hell out of here. All this explanatory, whatever. Man, anyways. Well, thank you all for joining us and getting high at 9 with us every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast. Big shout outs to our audience and supporters for tuning in daily and listening to the insanity that is the developing cannabis industry. Huge thank you to Catalyst for helping us keep the lights on over here, and thank you to our correspondents for being absolutely amazing, even when you guys want to interrupt each other. Thank you to Cannabis Sativa L for giving us a reason to do all of this. And thank you to Cloud Media Partners, Adam out there in the metaverse somewhere. And thank you all for tuning in and getting high at 9 with us. It is America's #1 daily cannabis news show. And we do want to wish all of you a very, very happy New Year. We appreciate all of your support, always tuning in, watching us, checking us out. Make sure that you share this all with your friends. We will be back tomorrow too. And do any of you three, I'll give you all three, if y'all want to wish anyone something in regards with Happy New Year's or anything like that, please, the floor is yours. We'll go Todd, Saman, Yarrow, just the order that you guys are on.
Awesome. Well, I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody, and thanks for listening and thanks for tuning in. Let's try to be nice to each other in 2025. And some friendly advice: make sure you poop before midnight so you don't carry that shit into 2025.
Oh, Todd, always making it hard to follow up. I just want to say I'm very lucky. I'm very honored to know all these wonderful people. Everybody that I share this screen with is an amazing person. No matter how heavy we get in this chat, I love everybody, have massive respect for every individual on the show, everybody that watches our show, and everyone in general. I just hope that this year brings many blessings for you all and your families, and only health and wellness for your life. So hopefully opportunities grow for us all, but 2025 is ours. So take it by the horns.
Go for Yarrow.
This is Yarrow, and for the first time today, I agree with everything Saman just said.
What a great way to end 2024, you guys. Happy New Year, everybody. Yes, Happy New Year. Adam, let's run that outro for the last time this year.
1, 2, 3, 4.